Jadzia pulls an egg out of her mouth, and then she pulls a bar of latinum out of Quark's ear, and then she convinces Bashir to go on a 3-way date with her and her former lover. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 7th Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
What's up, guys?
Convinces. Today, my name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are reviewing Deep Space Nine Season 4, Episode 6, Rejoined, directed by Mr. Avery Brooks. Written by Renee Echevarria and Ronald D. Moore. How are you today, Cirroc?
I'm doing well. Had a good Thanksgiving, and
nice.
Now we're getting into this episode. I didn't realize that Avery directed this episode.
I didn't either. I did not either. I only kind of look at that like after I watch the episode, and I go, "Oh, that was interesting. I didn't know that was him." You know, like I didn't expect that. I was mostly looking to see who the writers were because I was like, "Who wrote this?" Just out of curiosity.
And who did write this?
Well, that was Renee Echevarria and Ronald D. Moore. The story was Renee Echevarria, and he and Ronald D. Moore wrote the script, the screenplay.
Yeah, not my favorite episode out of the whole lot of them.
What? All right, Cirroc's not pulling any punches. Here we go. We're going into it.
Yeah, I know it's a big shocker for you, but but yeah, no, this, you know, it was hard for me to get into the story because it was kind of like, you know, a romantic type of movie or episode, which I'm not the most emotionally in touch guy, so those things lose me after a few minutes.
I don't know. You get touched when it's like father-son moments or like best friends. But when it comes to like romance, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, all this romance and but yeah, so that was the big thing for me, was trying to get over just the whole like, okay, this is. It reminds me of those moments when your parents are like, we have to talk, or your significant other says, we have to talk, and you're like, oh God, this talking thing.
So this was an episode about we have to talk.
Yeah, it was like watching the talk, which is always uncomfortable either to be in or to even observe from outside. So it was. I felt for Jadzia, though, in some moments. I felt like in the beginning when she was suffering from that anxiety about seeing her ex, I felt like that's pretty much everybody. I think we all go through that to a degree.
Yeah. Also, I do want to say very quickly, because we're going to be talking about exes. We're going to be talking about Michael Eddington, he's out there stealing the show every day, night in and night out. We're going to talk about Jadzia and all that fun stuff, and Avery's directing. I also want to mention that if you'd like to help us out and support the show, check us out on patreon.com/the7th rule. That's with the 7th rule. Also, the links are in the description box below, so just check that out and see if you want to join the team and support us. If you'd like a way to help us out non-monetarily, just make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications. Sorry, I'm sleeping too today. And share this video around, comment in the comment section below, you know, help us out, talk about us, hang out with us, join us. So, not your favorite episode, huh?
Well, not really. I understand, but it was a good kind of a breakout episode for Dax.
Right.
She's kind of been in the back burner a little bit with her storylines. And so just to get a little character development for her is good. So I was happy to see that. I actually saw moments in there where I could see the improvement of her as a performer. You know, I said, you know, there were moments where I was like, oh, okay, Dax has really grown into this character. And Terry Farrell is more comfortable in delivering her her performances on the show. So I thought she actually showed a lot of improvement in this particular episode.
Yeah, and this episode is really important in Star Trek and TV lore because it had Star Trek's first same-sex kiss, which happens very little in Star Trek, but this was the first one, and this was October 30th of 1995, so it was not that long ago. Our good friend and associate producer, Dr. Marie Segal, points out that I believe she mentioned Mission Log, our buddies over at Mission Log, the podcast, did say that this was, in fact, not the first same-sex kiss on television. I guess some people have that, they mistake that. It is obviously the first in Star Trek, but they mentioned L.A. Law was the first, and then there are other shows like Roseanne, Picket Fences, and The Real World that had a same-sex kiss before Deep Space Nine or before Star Trek, but this was still a momentous occasion. It was very important, even though they had to do it in a way that's kind of skirting around the subject a little bit. Kind of like when Uhura and Kirk had the first interracial kiss, and that was the first in television history. It was, there was like some possession story or something like that. It wasn't quite directly the two of them being madly in love and kissing. And this wasn't necessarily, two women in love the way we normally think about it, but it was more that it was two
past lives.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it was much closer because they did accept it. They weren't like, well, I feel feelings for you, but no way, you're a girl. And that's what, so they were totally fine with it. So Star Trek definitely did improve there in that the people had zero problem with the fact that they were of the same sex. Like that was not part of the story at all. That was perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, and that brings me back to the What We Left Behind documentary that Ira and the team did. They mentioned this particular episode and kind of go into detail about what you're talking about. And one of the things I think Ira very humbly said was that he didn't feel like this is a episode that covered same-sex relationships as well as he would have liked. So he didn't give himself credit for covering this particular topic in the way
because he never does. He's always hard on himself.
Yeah.
But that's great. We like that about him. But you're right. I believe in the documentary they left a question mark. Like, did they address this? Let's leave a question mark.
Right. And now having watched the episode, I can understand why he wouldn't give himself a full credit because, it was a normal relationship between two people, but it was their past lives. And now they inhabit this, they both inhabit female bodies. So technically it wasn't, like you say, a love story between two women. But I felt like they covered this story pretty well as far as that is concerned, as far as the issue of two people having been in love, but now seeing each other in a new form. I mean, that was well done in this episode. That topic and that idea was well covered in this episode. Just a little bit too romantic and slow and drawn out because, it's an emotional conversation and not it doesn't go right to the point the way I like.
You want more science stuff about wormholes and stuff.
Well, the funny thing is, I thought that maybe, what affected me was the fact that Dax is now, because Dax was a man when she was with this other person, this other woman in her past life. I think it was Tobias, right?
Yeah.
Tobin.
No, it was.
Was it? Torias,
that's right.
Yeah, Torias. The only thing that I thought was interesting was the fact that Torias clearly was impulsive and had all of these things that, didn't listen really well and was impulsive and had some regret for the actions that he took at one point. But that wasn't the version of him that I felt like was having these conversations. I felt like these conversations were really more from from Jadzia's perspective,
Right.
not so much so from his. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, Torias was actually his middle name. His first name was Skella. That's a very bad He-Man joke, but anytime I can put He-Man in this, I'm happy. So I did want to finish up a little bit about how they addressed the same-sex kiss and the same-sex situation. And to me, what the big win was, yeah, they kind of skirted around it a little bit because it wasn't technically, just however we're used to seeing, two men in love or two women in love. It was because of past lives or something like that, right? Okay, fine. But what I thought they really addressed perfectly, and what I do think is a big win, was, like I mentioned, that it was not a problem for anybody. They had a problem with it being taboo, for Trills to have, past lives, reconnecting with past life love interests or significant others. But nobody had any problem with it being two women. So what that tells you is, since that was never mentioned, that was not a part of it, nobody had a problem with it. What that means is any kind of taboo that is connected with, anything of the same sex or anything in the LGBTQ community is long since gone in Star Trek's future, as is probably expected and obvious. That's 400 years from now. Better be gone by now. But that was, but that's, that was not even mentioned as an issue. It wasn't even a talking point. It wasn't even a point of interest for them. It is completely moved on to the point of being like a non-issue in any way. And I consider that to be a big win for television in the 90s to say that and to do that. I thought that was really great.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It's a very good point, Ryan. And I thought that is one of the things that makes it great. But you also have to think that you mentioned that Avery Brooks directed this episode, and I think that it's interesting that Avery has directed these episodes that, even this one, which which you would think is just kind of like a standard episode, it actually is an impactful episode, and Avery's name is still attached to these episodes that are groundbreaking or are impactful. So he still manages, even in an episode like this that is really slower paced, still manages to find those moments and to be a part of this kind of historic thought process that's involved with them, telling the storyline. Can't hear you, Ryan.
Sorry, I had my mute on. I'd be interested to know if Avery had advance notice of like multiple scripts ahead of time and would say, can I direct that one? Or if the writers, the producers would say, hey, let's ask Avery if he wants to do this one. Or, it was probably like some kind of collaborative situation where, Avery would say, hey, I'd like to do another one soon. And every once in a while they'd say, you're not in this episode very much, and it's an episode that might interest you, and then sometimes he might say no, and sometimes he might say, I must direct this one, I'd be interested to know how that all played out.
Yeah, and when you add that bit of information to another nugget they revealed in the documentary, Terry Farrell mentions that Avery was really a mentor to her and help make things easier on her as she was, beginning the show and starting to do the show. I think she said something to the effect of "Go easy on me" or something like that when they were working together. So it would make sense that if that were the case and the writers were aware of that, and here's going to be a heavily featured Dax episode, which is all about her, it would make sense that they would pick a guy who has already been known to go easy on her, who knows her well, and can kind of draw out the better performances out of her,
Mm-hmm. Speaking of better performances, hey, Michael Eddington's in the house. Am I right? Michael Eddington chewing up the scenery, stealing the show. Here he is, Michael Eddington. He was originally, I thought he was going to be a security officer. I thought he was kind of like Starfleet security. But then now that Worf's coming in, he's clearly a security guy. And then they have Odo, who's a security guy. Then Eddington, they need a job for him. So they're like, okay, you're out in engineering now. So now he's in the engineering room of the Defiant, and O'Brien's like, well, what about me? You know, so I don't know. At least they found a job for him. I thought that was cool. And I did think it was fun to see Dax and Eddington and Worf on the Defiant, like their own little away mission crew, because it's not terribly important, you know. So Sisko's like, you guys can handle this. You're just going to do science stuff, you know. I do like to see things like that where they have away teams and away missions and who they choose for that.
My first thought when I saw Eddington was, is this guy still alive?
You're like, is this the episode where he dies?
Yeah, and I was sure he was going to die in this episode.
He's going to take a shuttlecraft into that wormhole.
I knew he was going to die. I was like, this is the episode. He's dying. That's it. And then, you know, when they said Eddington's in the reactor room or whatever it was, when it was the two of them trapped in that room, I was thinking, oh, they're both not going to make it, you know, and this is his swan song. But sure enough, Eddington stayed alive. I actually would like to meet the actor who played
Kenneth Marshall. So would I.
Yeah, I never had a chance to really see him at any of the conventions. And I didn't spend much time with him when we were doing the show because obviously none of my scenes had anything to do with what he was doing. So we didn't
saving
really
the universe. Much. Yeah, because Eddington was saving the universe week after week.
Yes. Well, I was saving self-sealing stem bolts.
Anyway, it was good to see him. I too would like to meet him, interview him sometime. That would be great. So hopefully that'll happen.
I thought there was a line missing in Eddington's particular scene when he was discovered in the reactor. When Dax found him, you know, she opens the door and sees him laying on there, and he's like, "We've only got 10 seconds," or something like that. So she says, 10 seconds is all I need. I'm going to go and make an attempt to save her. She walks down, tight ropes the hologram slide.
Yeah.
And then she gets to her love, Lenara. But all of a sudden, Eddington gets up. Right? And she's down there tending to Lenara, and he gets up and he's like, I'm out of here. This thing's about to blow. And he runs out of the door that Dax came in through, right? I thought there was a line that should have been there, which was like, hey, get out, you know, escape through that hatch over there, or something like, we've only got 5 seconds, or something, you know what I mean? Something to I'm out of here, I'm going to save my ass, and whatever happens to you is on you.
No, I totally agree. I noticed the same thing. I wonder if it was cut out of the edit or something, because it was almost jarring where we don't know that he's going to run out. Like she's doing, you know, she's going on the force field and she comes down like this and we're like, okay, what are they going to do? How are they going to save him? And Eddington's like, whoosh. And we're like, wait, what?
No words, nothing.
Nothing. Not an explosion that makes him duck away. Not a Dax saying, go, get out of here, we'll be fine. Not Eddington saying like, good luck, suckers, or, you know, like he just went, whoa.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she risked her life to get to him.
Yeah. He's like, that's your problem. I'm out of here.
I see an open door here and I'm taking it.
Yeah.
There was a misline there. It was something to the effect of, hey, 10 seconds till this thing blows. You know, something like that, and he rolls out. And then that little porthole that she found at the bottom. I was a little disturbed by the fact that Lenara was acting so helpless when she didn't seem like physically, you know, incapable of getting up and walking herself. You know, there didn't seem to be that much damage to her.
You're so unromantic, Cirroc. She was waiting. She was like, Dax, I can't do it without you, Dax. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm over here, No, I mean,
Carry me.
there was some
Carry
kind
me.
of, there was a blast. So maybe she was concussed. Maybe she was, disoriented or something like that. But you're right. She didn't have like shards in her head or,
Or her leg was stuck underneath something. Like, I need somebody to lift this
right.
thing to my leg. And, I was expecting something like that, but she was just like, yes. Oh yeah. What do? I still need you to carry me though. Like, you made it down the hologram slide, but now carry me. And I'm like, what do you mean carry? Get up and walk. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. So yeah, that's the romantic part of me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I also noticed that, and I rewound it to make sure that she started moving before Dax got to her. Like, it wasn't like Dax shook her awake. She like started moving and then, Dax is there. So if Dax hadn't come, she might have been okay. But Dax was like, no, I need for her to know that I'm her hero so that she chooses me over her career. And Lenara's like, yeah, that still didn't work, man. That was sweet. I like that move. That was very cool of you, but my career is pretty important too, which was kind of a surprise. And it's good that, Star Trek likes to surprise us, because oftentimes you would expect that it's Dax that says, no, I can't do it. My career is too important to me. Starfleet's too important. But Dax was ready to throw it all away. And it was Lenara that said, no, can't do it. And Dax is brokenhearted. And Julian's like, see, now you know what it feels like.
Actually, there was a moment there when Dax was confiding with Sisko about whether or not she should go ahead with this move. And I really like Sisko's stance on it. He listened. He was like, okay, I hear what you're saying. And then Dax basically said, so you don't think I should do it? He was like, nah, I don't think, no.
Right. Which also was kind of surprising, because a lot of times he would just be like, whatever you feel is best. And he did end up coming to that later. He said, look, if that's how you feel. But yeah, she was like, hey, I don't want to lecture. And he appropriately pointed out, you came to me for advice. I'm giving you an advice.
Yeah, you might not like it, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And then he gives her the real smart advice, which is to make sure. And, that's a lifelong advice lesson for all of us who are out here in the world. We always get attached to things, or we have our own perspective of things and our emotions, and we calculate things in our own head to be laid out in a certain way. And sometimes that feeling is not mutual. So it's important to be sure before you kind of lay out your life in front of you.
Right. And sometimes we ask for advice when really what we want is just
confirmation.
Right. Yeah. Somebody to agree with us. And then we're like, why are you? No, I just wanted you to tell me that you agree and that I'm right. We got to take our break real quick, but I do want to get into a lot of other great stuff, like the actress that played Lenara. I also want to talk about all those good Bajoran foods and Dax's magician skills, which people are just dying to talk about. But right before we do that, I do want to give a big shout out to our friend. Where do we go on this? Wait for it. Yeah. No, but I want to talk about all that stuff, and I do want to give a big shout out. We want to give a shout out to our good friend, Mr. John Tuffarella, Commander John Tuffarella of the USS Aaron Eisenberg. Check them out. Really cool. John's been a good friend of the show since the very beginning. I'm pretty sure the very, very beginning, he and Homer Frizzell were kind of like our OGs of the show. And I don't mean like, oh, geez. I mean like, oh, geez. So we do love John.
The Rhino.
Yeah, we love him.
The Rhino Tuffarella.
That's right. Anyway, so check out the USS Aaron Eisenberg. That is John's ship. Also our friend Heather Jordan, I believe, is their first officer. You remember her as our Trek Tech. Shout out to her as well. Take a quick break, like the fastest break in the West, and we'll be right back. We'll talk about the trivioids on the other side. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. We are reviewing Rejoined Deep Space Nine, Season 4, Episode 6. As you know, here are the trivioids that may or may not have made the cutting room floor. Jadzia pulls an egg out of her mouth. We know that one. Jadzia pulls a bar of latinum out of Quark's ear. We could talk about that for a minute too, by the way. Tobin used to dabble in the sleight of hand. Oh, I should have got a magic trick so I could have done it right then, like the disappearing quarter maneuver. Opportunities lost. Curzon was even late for his 100th birthday. We find out what Klingons dream about. That was pretty cool. Bajoran food was Hasperat, Moba fruit, and Veklava. Veklava sounds like baklava, Greek food. Dax convinces Bashir to go on a 3-way date with her and her former lover, and boy, was he miserable. And Dax gives Lenara Ryzian perfume. We all know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know if we do.
Yeah, she's going to smell a whole lot better.
Finally. So what I was thinking about when Quark gets, the latinum pulled out of his ear, because by the way, Julian pulls it out of his ear, and I do want to talk about Julian a bit more, but Julian pulls the latinum out of his ear too. He's like, oh, you've got such a headache right now, and let me pull this, whatever. And I was thinking, Quark wouldn't be so befuddled by that. He'd be like, anybody else want to pull latinum out of my ear? Because everybody would pull it out of his ear and then give it to him. And he'd probably be like, yeah. Step right up, pull latinum out of my ear. Here we go. Come and get it.
I was almost waiting for that moment that he would say, that belongs to me then.
Right.
And snatch the latinum back out of, Bashir's hand or Dax's hand. But instead, he was just looking around like, where did that come from? But certainly, if he thought that it belonged to him and that he had latinum behind his ears, he would claim it and say, give it back to me. So they kind of missed the beat on that. But what they did do a really good job was on showing the misery that Bashir was facing, listening to these two lovebirds share stories.
Right.
And that's kind of the face I had as I was watching this
That's
episode.
what I was going to say. This was his impression of you watching it. Right? That
was me watching this episode.
That was you watching it. But I don't know, man. Bashir, like I keep saying convinces, because when Dax said to Bashir, she's like, hey, I'm gonna go on a date with my former lover, and we're gonna like rekindle this love fest we got going on. Can you do me a favor and join us? And he's like, oh, boy, I don't know. What? Bashir would be like, I'll do it. Let's go. I'm all for this. I'm buying. Let's do it. But he was like, okay, but you owe me one. Boy, am I really sacrificing my Saturday night for you and that other lovely lady that I like. So I don't know.
Yeah. Now that you say that, that makes sense. What you're saying does make sense, because he already clearly has a thing for Dax.
And every woman.
And every other woman. and then here comes another really beautiful woman, who has that same sex appeal. So I just feel like, he'd probably be like, sure, I'd join. Do we get the group hug? Is there going to be a 3-way hug over here or something?
What was it that he was saying to that one lady about like, oh, you should try drinking tea and massages will help, So he's like, I'll provide the tea and massages and the quarters. So I don't know. I wasn't 100% convinced that he would be that bored. I mean, maybe after a few hours of him desperately trying to shift the conversation in the way that he wants it to shift. But I guess we've all kind of been there where you feel like the third wheel, which he eventually did start feeling like the third wheel, where it's like two old best friends are just going at it. And you're like, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know that inside joke. but you guys are both laughing, and you're just like, well, I don't know. So he must have felt that way, I guess.
Not to mention they were actually talking to each other and not including him in the conversation. It's not like as if they were saying, Bashir, you got it. The last time you should see the way she cooks. We had dinner and she made this thing for me and it spilled all, something that included him in the story. Instead, they were just going back and forth to each other like, oh, why did you do that? Oh, you shouldn't have, and they were just, so he was probably like, yeah, I don't remember any of these stories. I don't know anything what you're talking about. And these are all inside jokes. So.
It would have been funny if he just kind of like got up and walked away and they didn't even notice he left. like he was just like, yeah, okay, I'll, no, it's fine. And he kind of gets up and goes like,
I would have liked him to have just been drinking the whole time until he was pissy drunk, and then he gets the call somebody broke their leg, and he's stumbling out like, I'll fix that leg.
Yeah, he'd be like, maybe someone can fill in for me on that one.
You know what we have to get into, though, and I don't know if this thought was going through your head as you were watching this episode, but since Discovery has now decided to introduce a Trill character, and that Trill character has a love interest, I was thinking if this love interest and this past life Trill character would be in violation of these very same rules that we're talking about, that they have for the Trill.
Interesting. No, the thought hadn't gone through my head because Discovery never goes through my head. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We love you, Discovery. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's interesting. Because it is a
so we know Adira. Right.
Yeah, it's a past lover, but Adira, Adoa, Adira, a female deer, is not dating what's the symbiont? Or what's
I don't remember her, but it was
it's like Tal, I think, Tal.
Okay.
So she's not dating Tal. She just has Tal in her, but Tal used to be in somebody that she used to date. So you're right that it's not what's going on here, but it is different than possibly the norm. I don't know if you can take on, I mean, obviously they already beat up Taboo because she's a human and not a Trill. So she's probably like, what's one more mark against me? What do I care,
Right, right.
But yeah, that's a good thought.
But does that sentence her Trill to die, though, or basically to not be rejoined again with some other host? Because she's, involved in a past life relationship. So I wonder if that's would disqualify her from having her Trill put into somebody else.
Well, the symbiont, I think that they are like sacred creatures. So anything that happens, they would blame the host and not the symbiont, I would guess. But I don't know. I don't know if they've addressed this before, but that's what I would think. This is when our Star Trek fans can join in on the conversation and help us out here. If somebody did something bad, like say Jadzia, and Lenara doing, this taboo thing, or Adira, a female Dira, her being a human and hosting this symbiont, would the symbiont be punished by not going on to a different body, or does that punishment or taboo lie strictly on the host? I say it's probably the host, but maybe somebody knows what the answer is. So let us know, please, because that's a good one.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were alluding to in this episode. I thought they were basically saying if Dax decides to proceed with this relationship with Lenara, that it means that she will not, once she dies, the symbiont will no longer be placed in another host.
Oh,
that's what I thought was up for grabs. So she's basically saying, I'm willing to risk my life or the life of the symbiont, which would not be able to find another host, in order to start a relationship with you. That means there would be no more Dax, no more Jadzia. The memory of us would end right here. So I was thinking that was pretty much what was on the line in this episode.
That's possible. If that's the case, I missed it. There was a lot of discussion about symbionts and trills and taboo and all that. And I think that's probably when you had this look, right? That's probably when you're doing this. Because for me, I did find myself missing a lot and having to go back thinking, oh, shoot, was it important? You know, I kept catching myself thinking, you know, if that was important, I should probably go back and watch it. Because sometimes it would be on for like a minute and I didn't really pay attention to the dialogue because I'm like, okay, I get what's going on in this scene. But yeah, there are little bits and pieces that I was worried that I might miss, and it seems like I may have. Because I was thinking about other interesting aspects of this episode. Like, for example, the actress here, which we love to see, has the actor or actress been in Deep Space Nine before or other Star Trek shows? And the answer is yes, with this lady. She has been a Borg queen in 4 episodes of Voyager, two-parters, I believe. One was Unimatrix Zero, if I remember correctly, parts 1 and 2. And the other one is Dark Frontier, parts 1 and 2. The actress is Susanna Thompson. She's been in a ton of stuff. She was in Arrow, good Marvel stuff there. She was in Timeless, NCIS, a series called Kings, the Book of Daniel. I mean, tons of television. The Twilight Zone, the 2002 version of the Twilight Zone. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, she was
Alien Nation.
Okay. Okay. Shout out to Alien Nation.
One more thing, Star Trek The Next Generation. She was in 2 episodes as 2 different characters. Looks like around the 5th and 6th seasons. So she's been all over 90s Star Trek.
It's funny because when I first saw her come on the screen, I had to ask myself, I had to look back and say, didn't I date this girl? I thought it was...
I didn't think you were going with that.
No, I thought it was a Dabo girl that I had dated at one point. So I was like, is this one of my exes? And I said, no, I never really dated a Trill, but I just wanted to know if it's the same actress, you know? And I was like, they couldn't do that. There was no way they'd be able to get away with, you know, the same actress playing my Bajoran girlfriend and then playing now this Trill. But I had to look at her face and I had to really ask myself, you know, because she looks so familiar.
Mm-hmm. You know, I thought the same. Not that I might have dated her, but that she might have dated me. No,
Okay.
but like when I saw her, I was like, have I seen her in Star Trek before? Now, I don't recognize her as the Borg Queen. Like I know the character from the episodes, and I know the episodes, but I didn't recognize her from that because of all the makeup and stuff. So I'm sure it wasn't that. But she was in 2 different episodes as 2 different characters on Next Generation. So I think I might recognize her from that, or it might just be because I've seen this episode before and I recognized her. But we'll have to I'll have to check out the Next Generation episodes because I can't remember what it was offhand. But anyway, I thought she did well. I thought she did a great job. At one point, she looked like she was going to try to bite Dax's thumb. I don't know if you saw that, but that was interesting.
I didn't see that. When was that?
Right before they kissed, Dax kind of goes like this, and she's like, har, har, har. It's like I'm like, feed that poor lady. All she's had is Bajoran food all week, man. Give her some food. She's starving.
She's hungry. We were going to get into a little bit about what Klingons dream about, and I think no better person than you, Ryan, to give us the insight about Klingon dreams.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what little Klingons dream of. No, there is a quote. Is that why? Is that why you're asking? Yes. Boy, let's see. So Kira says, what do Klingons dream about? And he says, things that will send cold chills down your spine and wake you up in the middle of the night. It is better that you do not know, is what I believe what he says.
Yeah. That was the highlight of this episode, actually.
And that was it. That they just did that, and he walks away, drops the mic.
Like, it was perfect. It was the highlight of the episode. I was like, wow, I want us to get a little bit more into these disturbing Klingon dreams that he's having.
Well, he did say, it is better that you do not know. So maybe that's that. And they're like, and then they said, I can never tell if he's joking.
Right.
Does Worf joke? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think he jokes. I don't hear him telling any jokes.
Yeah, there is a funny scene in Deep Space Nine later on where Dax and Worf are in a shuttlecraft, and Dax says something, and Worf doesn't react, and she goes, "It was a joke." He's like, "Yeah, I know it's a joke, and I get it, but he just doesn't laugh or whatever." I can't remember the exact line, but he says something like, I know it's a joke, and I get it, but it is not funny. Or I don't know if he says that, but something. People know the scene I'm talking about. People that have seen it, they recognize it. It's funny.
Is this after they're married and a couple already?
Yeah, I think it might be Dax's last episode. I think it might be that, but I don't know. Okay. We'll have to stay tuned and find out. But yeah, that was really fun. And that scene also showed something that I love. And I'm going to pull out my inner Cirroc here and say those dress uniforms look so damn sharp. I really like them. I think people look better in those dress uniforms, honestly.
They do. They really do. Sisko comes in with his, and then he pins the communicator on Dax, which was a nice little special moment they had. And I like how he cuts from that communicator close up being pinned to the next scene where she's looking down at it at the dinner. Another kind of that's his directorial little subtle nuances that he puts in there, which I liked. I liked that transition. Right,
that was an Avery Brooks special right there, and that was cool. And then when we see everybody in their dress uniforms, it just looks really good. I thought Dax also look better in the dress. I don't know what it is about it, but it just looks sharper. It looks tight. It looks sleek. It looks sharp. I really like it. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up because you're all over those uniforms usually. But I definitely noticed it this time.
I took notice of it. I just didn't bring it up, but I did notice because they don't always have those on, and when they do, it's usually a special occasion. And in this particular moment, I have to agree with you. It just looks so sharp. It actually looks like it should be their normal everyday uniform because it's just that. It looks that good,
Yeah. I wonder if they have like wardrobe where they're like, we need 2 lint rollers for these episodes. Like for the regular one, they just have 1 lint roller, everything, whatever. But for these, they're like, dude, we need 2 lint rollers. This is legit. This is the real one.
Yeah, we stay lint rolled up.
Did you guys have a lint roller? Or was that just the wardrobe person that always had a lint roller in her fanny pack or something?
Yeah. It was a wardrobe keeping all that in mint condition. And then making sure to remind me to have a napkin tucked in at lunchtime so I didn't spill anything on my...
Did you guys ever have to wear, speaking of that, did you guys ever have to wear like the full-on garbage bag to protect your wardrobe? Because I've had to do that in the past where they're like, this uniform is really important and there's only one of them. So if you're eating lunch, you have to, they put like a garbage, more than just like a napkin, like a garbage bag on me. I'm like, what are you?
Having a sloppy Joe sandwich?
Yeah. It's SpaghettiOs day.
Were you at a Nate's hot dog eating contest? Nathan's hot dog?
No, they have vegetarian dogs. Veggie dogs, am I right, guys?
But no, I never had to wear a full-out trash bag. If it was that bad or that sensitive, they would just make me take it off altogether, and I just wear a T-shirt or something at lunch.
Yeah, just live your life. Be free, man.
Yeah, but it's hard, man. It's especially with the guys who had more elaborate suits and elaborate makeup. You can't just take it off really quickly when you're wearing those Kardashian zip up jackets and you've got your hands done and everything. It's a real nightmare for some of those people.
Yeah, they need like a team.
Yeah. Armin having his hands orange, so everything he touched, would turn orange. So you'd have to either have gloves on or, it was just, you have to be mindful of that kind of stuff, especially in your lunch times.
Yeah. So when he'd go have lunch, he'd be like, show me some glove. Yeah.
No.
Well, we only have a few minutes left here.
We had a little appearance from Rom in this episode. It was very subtle and very quick, but he kind of looks into Quark's ears to find more Latinum.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
That was like a non-line appearance,
Yeah, get back to work. So yeah, that was a nice little moment.
Easy work day for him.
Easy money. Yeah.
No NAMs today, though, huh? I don't think there were any NAMs. I mean, because we're not counting all of the.
Curzon?
Yeah, we can't count those because they mention those all the time. I guess we could have, because they do mention Curzon a lot, and they mention Tobias every once in a while, and whoever. I mean, sorry, Tarius and Tobin, and they're always like, "No, that was Tarius," and we're like, "Oh, of course," But
yeah, but I don't even think I would take the time to get to know all the past lives. Like, who am I dealing with now? That's all I need to know. So it was like they were all doing their little quiz memory on, no, you're wrong. It's the wrong order. It's actually first it was. And I'm like, come on, guys. This is not a conversation. I don't think anybody'd be happy on this show.
No. So what you're saying is when you have a new girlfriend and she's like, so I have my friend Susie and you're like, I don't need to know. I mean, let's wait till after 6 months before we.
And my first boyfriend was Jack, and my second boyfriend out of high school. And then when I first got to college, let's not go through the list.
No, but you're right. This is worse. Like, I don't think Quark would be like, wait. Which host was it?
Right.
Quark would be like, whatever.
Whoever pays the bill, that's the one that I'll answer to.
Sounds like you're getting a little nitpicky there, Cirroc.
Well, dun dun dun.
Speaking of which,
it's
the nitpick of the day, damn it. And it goes a little something like this. When there's an explosion in the Defiant and Dax is going to go save the people in the engine room, she walks down to the engine room. Why doesn't she run? She goes, is anybody alive? Nobody answers. We think they might be dead. Time is of the essence. And she walks. She walks, and she waits for her buddies to show up, and they walk. What if she showed up and they go, oh, we have 2 seconds left. Too late. Guess you should have run.
Yeah, and not only did she walk, but then when she got in the room, she literally went down the ladder part so slowly. And I'm like, this is like life or death. The thing's about to melt down, the thing's exploding, the warp core is going to be breached. And I'm thinking, and she's coming down to like how you go into a pool when you're scared of getting the cold
when it's
water.
Cold.
Yeah, so you kind of go down real slow. And I'm thinking, hurry up. You're supposed to jump over the banister and slide down that. I called her Dax in the Technicolor Dreamcoats because I don't know why. But
I don't know why either.
I don't know why either. But it just, that moment, the scene of her walking down, it was so awkward because she was kind of walking down. And I'm thinking, that's the urgency didn't match what was happening in that moment.
Right.
I should have seen way more urgency.
Yeah, there was a lot of walking there. Maybe if she had run and they had 30 seconds instead of 10 seconds, Eddington wouldn't have had to duck out like a weasel. He could have been there helping them out. The whole thing would have been different. But Eddington was like, I don't have any time. I got to go.
Yeah, and I'm not walking down that green thing. Why doesn't he go and help her? There's nothing wrong with him. He had some bruises on his head, but he looked all right.
Because he saw how unstable that force field really was. And he's like, you better go. I'll wait here and make sure it stays stable.
Actually, I'll go to the ops and go tell them personally.
Yeah, see ya.
See you later.
Well, on that note, I think we've done a lot of good, and I think it's time to close up shop for the day. We do want to give a very big and gracious special thanks to our friends Carmen Shamwell, PJ Tomas, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Mr. Bill Victor Arucan, who will be seen in Burbank this week, Yvette Blackmon, Dennis Koch, Commander Homer Frizzell, Eve England, who just celebrated a birthday. Happy 25th, Eve.
Happy 25th.
Dr. Marie Segal, Mr. Titus Mohler, Tim Baum, Dr. Susan B. Gruner, Commander Rex A. Wood, Robert Weissburg, and the aforementioned John Tuffarella.
Sweet.
I almost called him Don John.
Don Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Or Don Julio, the tequila. Anyway, any last thoughts before we go? We've got the free-for-all coming up in just a second.
What was the IMDb on this one?
That's right. That's what we forgot. I knew we were forgetting something. Jake Sisko guesses the IMDb score.
My guess is this was a 8. That's all I got.
I think most people felt the same as you, and they gave it a 7.1.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, good.
All
right. Being very generous with my 8.
Yeah.
Very generous.
You're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're an 8. So anyway, all right, stick around for the free-for-all. We'll edit that part out. And we'll be right back on the 7th rule.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 7th rule for today's free-for-all. With us today, we have Melissa Longo.
Hi.
Timothy Baum. TJ Jackson-Bey.
Hey.
Nice.
Eve England out in Wales, Nebraska. Dr. Sue Gruner in Gainesville, Florida. And
Nice.
Dr. Marie Segal in Midtown, Manhattan, West Side. And also, as always, we have the incredible Ryan T. Hustle. And, of course, Mr. Cirroc Lofton with a beautiful chapeau. Welcome, everybody. Over to you, Ryan. Thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah, that's Homer Frizzell, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Homer Frizzell.
All right. Good job.
I guess next time I'll introduce myself. Okay.
Yeah. Give us your best Good Morning Vietnam. That's what that reminded me of.
Oh, okay. I have seen it. Good morning, Vietnam!
Wow. That was dead on.
Perfect.
Dead on.
So
that reminds me of high school. We would have someone that would give the morning announcements, and she always started, "Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone."
I like that.
And it was nice.
I thought you were going to say, when we were tired, we didn't want to hear it. That sounds like something you'd enjoy sometimes, but then other times if you're tired or you got a headache, you're like, dude, leave me alone.
It makes a big difference. Like when you get on the subway and there's someone that's excited and saying, "Good morning." And you're like, whoa, okay. It's not just here's the A train going from here to here. It's nice.
And sometimes you're like, I hadn't had my coffee yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, just tamp that enthusiasm down and drive the train.
It's too early. It's like you're a DJ.
Well, and but it happens so few and far between. When you do hear it, it's like, oh, I like this conductor. This would be a good train ride. So
Yeah.
it's not every morning where it's like, happy, happy, happy.
That reminds me, we have a little bit of show and tell with some shirts. Melissa, what are you wearing? Who are you wearing?
Who am I wearing?
Okay, Joan Rivers.
I am wearing me.
I'm wearing me.
Yes.
Let's do this. Walking art made by Melissa.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's me. And a cozy sweater.
So Walking Art Made by Melissa is Melissa's online store. Lots of really cool stuff. Some people here have some of her things like Homer does.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I love this hat. Since I have a virtual green screen, you can see the green that's in it this time. You should get one.
Awesome. Anybody else? I know we also...
Eve's got the bracelet. She's wearing the bracelet.
Nice. Gorgeous.
Ooh.
And she also has a Cirroc Sisters shirt, or that she designs from Abyssinian Kiosk, which is gorgeous.
Wow.
And the she is doing it. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, that bar is way high now.
Wow. That's beautiful.
She's killing it.
Somebody else was wearing Abyssinian Kiosk, I thought. No?
I have one handy.
Oh, that's what it was, the shirt, yeah.
The green one. I love the colors. That's upside down. Oh, and I like the thing on the back too, which I do.
Right.
But it's
Cute.
Beautiful. You also have the Seventh Rule shirt that we love so much.
yes.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
JJ Wendell, who's having a sale right now on his website.
Good knowledge. JJ Lendl, we love him. He's awesome. I think we got everybody. Anne Marie, are you wearing something?
Oh, it's a Marie's Crisis shirt. Oh, I love it. Who does the show tune sing-alongs?
You move so quickly.
Oh, sorry. Okay. They're Marie's Crisis
Marie's
t-shirts
Crisis.
for the Marie's group, like plural, multiple Marie's group on Facebook for their daily show tune sing-alongs.
They were part
Is
of
this for
Virtual
Anne
TrekCon.
Marie?
What?
Anne Marie?
They prevented Anne Marie's Crisis, but they're just called Marie's Crisis after like a madam who lived on that block named Marie, and then Thomas Paine who wrote what's the name of
Common
it?
Sense?
Like and also like a few other things. He used to, I think, live in their building, so they combined the two.
So today we were reviewing Rejoined, Deep Space Nine's Rejoined. By the way, everybody, if you see something you like and you want to check out these things in the description box of this video, all of the links are down below. Check them out. Walking Art Made by Melissa, Abyssinian Kiosk. TJ knows where it is. And teespring.com/The Seventh Rule. It's all there. You guys have any thoughts on Rejoined? It was kind of a big episode back in the day, right?
It's a really good episode.
I remember it back in the day, and I remember thinking, wow, they stepped over a line that I wanted them to step over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what year was that?
95.
Wow, that's really, they were so ahead of their time in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. One of the best episodes in my book.
Great episode.
Anybody else? I don't know if anybody. Tim, we can't hear you.
There we go. That was one of the first episodes I saw after I missed quite a few episodes due to getting married, having a kid, and moving. And I finally found it, and it's like, I'm okay. There was some things that had gone on. I'm like, I'm got to get caught up, but I still distinctly remember that because it was the first one back.
Were you just like, whoa, Sisko shaved his head?
Yes, yeah, I was.
Whoa, there's magic tricks going on now.
I have a question for you guys. I just wonder if women enjoyed this episode more than the men. That's kind of my question. I feel like there was like more emotional and conversational things that tend to kind of skew towards women who like to have these conversations and talk about feelings, and guys are like less about talking about feelings. I wonder if that's the case or not.
It was really emotional. I was having watched it again quite recently this week. Yeah, it was more emotional than I probably remember the first time. So I think, yeah, just across the board. But then it was funny. I mean, the funniest bit for me was, you have Bashir then as the sort of third wheel. That was really funny. But I think most of it was quite heavy going as an episode as a whole. But yeah, I did really enjoy it. But yeah, it was probably more on the emotional side than most of the episodes, I suppose. Yeah.
Anybody else?
TJ? I see your wheels spinning.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were looking for the female's perspective. No, I enjoyed the episode. I remember when it first aired, but at the time I was younger. And so it didn't really impact me, the way that the message that it's sending, or the message that it sent at that time, in that time. But I enjoyed it very much. I think, and I thought then that's a pretty stiff penalty for something that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I mean, I get it, from the rationalization they had was you're supposed to go live, a whole nother life, and since you're in a new body. But the female thing, that wasn't even a thing in my head. Like, I didn't make any distinction about that before, but I recognize that, so many people do that. It's an issue and a thing that has to be addressed in the way that they did it. And so I think they did good on that number. I know they had to put it in this story where the actual issue is about something completely else. Right. But I think they took it as far as it needed to go on the screen to get that message across that hey, this is everybody's trying to frown on this, but here it is. Enjoy it in its glory.
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this the second time that Dax was ready to give up everything for love? You had Meridian, and then this.
Right. You're right.
He's a hopeless romantic.
This one's more believable, at least. But,
yeah, Meridian is like, okay, we meet, and 2 days later, I'm going to give up my life. And
yeah. No, you're right. That's something I wanted to talk about earlier, Cirroc, and I forgot, was that usually, I kind of pointed out a couple times that, like, it just seems so unbelievable when people fall in love and then go through this whole love story in just 40 minutes. And it's practically impossible to do for a writer. And it shows on the screen because, like, we don't believe it. We don't buy that they just are ready to throw away their entire life. But like you're saying, like, it worked okay this time because this wasn't they just met each other, they just fell in love. It's almost like their souls have been connected and like they're meeting from past lives. So this time it was okay. This time it worked because they were already in love.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That was.
I thought it was done brilliantly. If you think about it, and I don't want to get political because that's not why we're here, but two people that loved each other, that still loved each other, that I can't even imagine if it were real, what it must be like to go through something like that. And I thought the way I thought it was just brilliant. And everybody can relate to that. Doesn't matter whether you're straight or gay or whatever, you can relate to love is love. And these people still loved each other after, I don't remember how many lifetimes that Jed Z had gone through, or I can't think of her name.
I think it was two previous. Yeah, Lenara.
Something like that. But
Lenara.
I wanted them to get together.
Yeah. Anne-Marie, can you confirm that it was 2 lifetimes ago?
Or which one?
I think for Jadzia it was 2 lifetimes ago, and for Lenara it was just 1. Was that right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jadzia's one had like died at a younger age because of that accident.
Technically 3, if you
Oh,
count Joanne.
Good knowledge.
or 4.
Or what was it?
Farad,
Wasn't
that
there
guy who like
Farad?
came on this
Yeah.
station
Yeah.
for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Eve, what did you think about this episode?
Yeah, I think it's the same what everyone else has said. I think it was watching it. I can't remember watching it at the time, but I think when you watch it again now, I think it just sort of resonates far more, and you sort of realize how powerful it must have been at the time, because it's incredibly powerful even now. And I think the way that they did it, the interactions between those 2 characters was incredibly believable. For a show such as Star, it just felt incredibly emotional, incredibly genuine. And I just think they just articulated that incredibly well, and I think it's just so relevant, and it's to what we're seeing now. So it was really, really, really fantastic.
At the time, it felt like kind of gratuitous. Like, it seems like they just have these 2 hot girls kissing for ratings, and it doesn't really seem to be about like the plight of the LGBTQ plus community, especially because like I thought it was much more a much like deeper episode on Roseanne when they did it. But now going back and watching it, it's just such a well written episode, and there is so much emotion that I guess maybe it's because you see it a lot more places, but it doesn't like rub me the wrong way as much as like a ratings grabber than it did at the time.
Did they
think,
advertise this as something for ratings? How did they advertise it? That would be an interesting thing to kind of see how the show was promoted beforehand.
I know like I'd be really interested in that too. What I do know is that like, I'm not sure if you were there, Stock, it's like Star Trek maybe 25th anniversary in the 90s, where there was like a humongous party with all Star Trek stars. They and like Ben Stiller introduced it. They had all the cast there. They showed like a montage of how Star Trek's really progressive, and this was like one of the front and center clips. Sort of like really patting themselves on the back for having this. But also like they'd show some of the clip I saw on YouTube, they show like some of the guys in the audience who are super into it. Like it's like they were a little too proud of it themselves. And like the way they presented it in that award show made me kind of feel the same, go back to my old feeling of like
that's why you got that vibe. Okay,
yeah.
That makes
That's
sense.
not how the episode
exactly.
Right, it doesn't feel like that at all. Like, because that's what I was thinking when I think, oh yeah, is it as people are saying, quite judgy about it? But actually, you watch it and you think it doesn't have that gratuitous feeling to it at all. You just really get a sense for these 2 characters and that they genuinely care for each other. So I was quite surprised of how, I don't know, how modern it almost felt in the way that it portrayed them together.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why DS9 stands the test of time, because like I said, I watched it all those years ago, and I get a completely different feeling when I watch it now. I also grabbed my attention that didn't grab it before was when Captain Sisko said, he told her, look, you're gonna throw your life away, and I remember Curzon saying how serious a deal this is. But he said, if this is what you choose, then I will back you 100%.
That was beautiful.
And that was beautiful, and I think that was a good message as well. That someone makes a life choice. If you're really their friend, you're gonna back them up.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of started to think that I don't actually like the Trill culture generally, because it seems to be that they make lots of really bad policy decisions about things.
Yeah, which is continuing a discovery.
Yeah, I was thinking, there's like in the future and they're still getting it wrong. And you think,
like not the nicest. Definitely not the fuzziest culture.
Not my fave, no.
Yeah.
A little dogmatic. Homer, what do you think? beautiful love story or gratuitous ratings grab?
So I think it was a beautiful love story. Love that Jadzia wanted, but Ilana decided no, couldn't do. And I think they also took into account, or she took into account, that we're talking about 4 beings, not just 2 beings, because you have the symbionts. And if they do this, then those 2 symbionts it's going to be the end. Whereas I think the main goal of Trill and all of its dogma is to have the Trill or the squids, as they said originally in Discovery, to have as many lifetimes of experiences as possible. Now, what I don't know and what I'd be curious about is, like, Trill has all of these experiences. What sort of warehouse or storehouse of data is there back on Trill, and how are they using that to make the world or the universe a better place? The other thing that stuck out in this episode is that some of the Trill people are really sort of creepy, like that guy at Cork's.
Yes.
Just staring through the bars.
Oh, creepy.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, I think Quark should have just come by and said, excuse me, you have to move along.
Scaring the customers.
Yeah. Don't stand there. So that's
Sorry,
my
I gotta run, guys. I have
Good luck.
another Zoom date, but good to see everybody. Thanks for having me.
You too.
All right, so
Anne-Marie.
here comes the real important question, guys.
Okay.
No, but here's a fun one real quick, because we only have a few minutes left. But here's also a quick thought. Like, Jadzia was being a magician, right? Who do you guys think would be the best magician in any Star Trek series, exempting anybody that can cheat, like Q, like the EMH doctor, like Data, people that can do technological
Well,
or
why don't you
magical
just eliminate everybody?
like
Yeah.
everybody.
No Odo.
Well, yeah, because you look at Q, I mean, of course he's just going to go poof, the universe is gone. Look what I did, But, like maybe Tom Paris, I don't know.
I just wanted to add something really quick, Ryan, before we get into that, and that was
Please
about
save
this.
me.
About this. About this Trill union. It is, and I didn't think of this until now as we were discussing it, but it is a little bit selfish on that particular life of that Trill or the host to want to rejoin in their love, but there were also loves of the other lifetimes that are in that symbiont, right? So technically, every one of those past hosts could search out their loved one and find their person that they were in love with too. So I mean, it's kind of a selfish thing for them to only pick that one, and you're the one that I'm going to go after, right? I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Maybe they would make an exception if it wasn't a joined Trill.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Anybody else?
I can kind of understand the rule that they have as far as creating a life with a former host, symbionts creating lifetimes together, because there is that experience that they wouldn't be having if they continued, and if they let it go, that would just where would it end? So I get that, but I also get that it's a difficult situation if 2 souls are so meant to be together that it's yeah, I don't know where the exception comes in, and how do you figure that out? Who gets that pass and who doesn't? So I guess I don't know. It's a tough question. answer. No real easy answers for
Tough
that.
question. It's a good question, though.
It's quite interesting. Well, I suppose that's what they were trying to make the point, that it is really complicated. And, if you're in this situation that, you had these past lives, what would you do, and what could you do, and what sort of is the right answer? And I suppose that's the problem, isn't it? I suppose where would you draw the line? Where do you stop? And I suppose the Trills have just taken this is just the easiest way of dealing with it. But it is
Right.
possibly, I don't know.
Because let's say Dex runs off with her, and they start their life together, and then another past life love runs into
Exactly.
Dex.
Like say Audrey's husband comes up or something. Yeah.
Right.
They'll be like the Denobulans that have like 3 wives on one side, and the 3 wives have 3 husbands.
Right. You'll find out about that later, Cirroc. That's Enterprise.
Yeah. All right.
That's
Not there
John Billingsley's character.
But I did want to also say one other thing about this episode. I thought it was interesting that they were able to resolve a dispute that they had, specifically the way he died. And I think he apologized and said, "Yeah, I should have listened to you. It was wrong." And that's an opportunity we never get when we lose somebody that we love. We never get to have that conversation. Say, "You should have listened to me. I told you not to go there," or whatever it is. And I thought that was another kind of cool conversation that they had.
Do you guys think that that Lenara would have stayed with Jadzia had it not been against Trill rules and regulations?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. If the symbiont could live on, absolutely.
Which is why I think there should be a black market underground Trill symbiont exchange commission. Doesn't operate on the home world. Like if you get exiled, you come to us, and we'll make sure that your symbiont lives.
Maybe
and it should
we'll
be
see
run
that
by
in
Dr.
Discovery.
Bashir.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
Discovery.
kind of extreme to punish the symbiont for the host's choice. I don't know. It seems a bit...
Yeah,
That's actually something we were asking earlier. Is do the symbionts get punished for the host's deeds, or who gets punished for both of their deeds? I was thinking that if Jadzia were to do something bad, for example, the Dax symbiont in the next life wouldn't be punished. They would be like, nope, that was Jadzia that did it. It had nothing to do with you. What do you guys think? Or do you think they both share in it, or what?
Well, they have
was-
an episode about that. What's the episode where Jadzia...
There was a trial about that.
Yeah, where she's accused of treason.
of murder,
Right. Right.
something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. And I think maybe the issue of why the punishment is so harsh is if they do the rejoin relationship, then maybe they're saying that the symbiont is imposing its will on the host, and that's why it has to go or be exiled because it played too much of a part of the decision that the host should have had more influence in living their own life rather than living the symbiont's old life again. Didn't think I'd arrive there, but there we are.
But you did it. Well,
Did anybody else think of Discovery at all? No.
I didn't.
All right.
Nobody?
Would you ask? Would you ask?
I was wondering if anybody thought about Adira on Discovery and.
Oh yeah,
she's-
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't seen that story play out yet. Well, whatever she's going through with being able to see her significant other, still there after.
Right.
That's a pretty weird situation either, because she isn't really rejoining with, and not to get too spoilery here, but like that's the same person that was actually had the symbiont, so that's a little weird.
Yeah. It's even another loop. For another loop.
Yeah, we definitely explored that. That's weird.
So, love not alive anymore, so I don't understand how that they're exploring a relationship when one isn't there really there. I don't know. Well, maybe they'll explain that, but I don't know.
I hope they explain it, definitely.
They could be dealing with a form of psychological disorder, like a schizophrenia type. They could be delving into that kind of thing. Imaginary characters or people talking to people that are not really there.
Right.
I don't know if they're taking that off.
Somebody surmised that, who was it on here? Somebody surmised that Stamets might actually be also seeing the other one. I forgot his name.
I read that somewhere, but I
think that was in the comments, the group comments. I have seen that as well.
I didn't see Stamets look at her.
I don't think he can see.
No.
Yeah, I don't agree with it, but anything is possible, I guess.
In
Maybe
sci-fi.
to have more to it, though. It just seemed like I would be a bit disappointed if Grey's just a figment of Adira's imagination. But I don't know. That would just. I hope there's more to it. There's something really that the Trill has got some other secret that we don't know about.
I think there will be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think so too. Well, we better go, guys. We're just about out of time here. I know. You guys.
So
are
we're
like,
not
what
doing.
about the magician?
What about the magician question?
Well, darn it! I really wanted to do that.
Homer, what's your
Okay.
answer? You got an answer. I know.
So I have two, if it's okay. I would go with Rom and Saru. And
Okay.
reason being, one, people go like, wait, Rom?
He'd be like,
Then
"Ta-da!"
it has to be magic. There's no way this guy would know like how to trick me. And then the other one with Saru, it's like you have these long arms that are doing this sort of flashy presentation. I think that would be great. Short answer.
All right,
I got one.
fine. Let's go around then. Sure.
I got one.
All right.
I think it should be Quark. I mean, he can pick locks and everything. Why can't he pull a coin out of somebody's ear, or a sleight of hand? Yeah, I think he would be good at magic tricks.
I thought that at first too, but then in this episode, it seemed like he was just dumbfounded by everything. Like, oh, you beamed it.
TJ, do you have one?
Reginald Barkley,
Nice.
Oh, jeez.
I think would be good with magic.
He'd be like, pick this card. No, not that.
No, not that one. This one.
I think it's this. I don't know. Do it again.
And that's what he'll use the nervousness as a kind of a distraction for whatever he's
Yeah.
doing.
Eve, do you have a magician in mind?
I was kind of thinking maybe 7 and 9 would be she'd be amazing because she would just be so clinical about it. But I think she would ruin it because then she'd want to tell you how she did it. She's so straight. I think she'd be really good at it, but would just be wouldn't it be really rubbish to be entertaining because she'd just ruin it for everyone.
Yeah. Also, one quick editor's note: this is the first time the word "rubbish" has been used on this show. So thank you. For
Wow.
Oh.
Nice work.
Thank you. Tim, do you have a magician in mind?
I'm thinking Worf, just because who's going to tell him he's a bad magician? He's going to say, "Is this your card?" Yeah, it is. So, yeah, he's my vote.
I think I remember the line now. He says, "That is a joke. It is not funny, but I get it." right? The one in the shuttlecraft, guys. I think that was the line I was trying to remember. Anyway, Melissa, who's the magician? Best magician in Star Trek?
I'm gonna say Phlox.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rom, but yeah, Phlox is my second choice.
Blocks.
Cirroc, what do you think? You must have somebody in mind.
Yes, I was thinking of Wei Yun.
Oh, good.
Nice.
I think he's such a showman. He's such a showman. Let's look over here and let me tell you something while I'm performing this trick. So I'm going with Wei Yun.
Which one?
I'll leave that for everybody to guess. I'm not sure.
Well, he hasn't seen the clones yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Oh, we got clones? Oh, what?
Clone Wars.
Uh oh.
Spoiler alert.
I didn't realize it was a spoiler alert.
There's more than one.
It is for some people.
No.
Ryan's got.
Wow, that's a relief because I thought Ryan was going to ask us, what do Klingons dream about? If anybody caught that line in the episode.
Oh, we did.
That was the highlight.
Cirroc brought that one up. Yeah, that was a great one.
Nice.
I got two magicians. One is sadly, but it's true. Neelix would be good at it, and he would love doing it.
Yep.
And people would be like, "Yes, Neelix, yes, that was very good. Can I get back to work?" Yes, that was
Can
great.
you bring me my breakfast now?
Yeah, please. I don't want you to pull latinum out of my scrambled eggs. Just give it me the scrambled eggs. I think the other one would be Porthos. He can make cheese disappear.
I love Porthos.
Okay.
That's a skill.
Porthos is Captain Archer's dog who likes cheese. That's
He
all.
needs two more dogs. Porthos is one of the three musketeers.
Right. All right. Well, I guess we better close out for the day, for the week. But thank you all so very much for joining us. Homer Frizzell, Timothy Baum, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Eve England out in Wales, Nebraska, Melissa Longo, and Dr. Susan Gruner, PhD. For Cirroc Lofton, for Aaron Eisenberg, our favorite human in the world and favorite Ferengi in the world. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you again next time. Always remember the 7th rule.